Ladies and gentlemen of the internet, welcome. You know what? JxmyHighroller uploaded a new video. You know that whenever JxmyHighroller uploads a new video, I'm going to be in there like swimwear, as my man King Recon would say. Because quite frankly, you know, as someone that is relatively new to basketball, he makes the best videos. Like, I watched his videos even before I watched basketball. As funny as that sounds, because I started watching basketball, like, seriously this year. But, like, sort of semi-seriously, like, once every month I watched, like, a game last year. But I watched every JxmyHighroller video. So I was watching his videos more than I was actually watching the games. And yeah, whenever he uploads, it's like it's a celebration. That's basically what it is. It's a celebration of the day because he just makes the best videos. But this one is the harsh truth about Victor Wembanyama, who is most likely going to go to the Spurs. And as a fellow European, you know, with him being a Frenchie, I usually can't stand the Frenchies, but this time, hey. Salute. Salute. With that said, the harsh truth about Victor Wembanyama, I think it's just gonna be a video of like because he made a video in the past about like people his size being injury prone and not having a very like long healthy career. Well, no pun intended, but not having a long healthy career. But I don't know whether it's just going to be more about that or whether it's going to be a different thing. So let's see and let's hop right in. With that said, have the link to the original one in the description down below. Check it out before you watch my reaction to it. And with that said, let's hop right in.
In 1997, the San Antonio Spurs were one of the worst teams in the entire NBA. Finishing the season with just 20 wins and with a rookie head coach leading the way, their future was uncertain. Their two best players were an aging Dominique Wilkins just 1 year away from his last NBA season, and their franchise player in David Robinson, who was sidelined with a season-ending injury that would linger for the rest of his career. The franchise was in a downward spiral with no end in sight. But what they did have was one more chance to make it right. Coming off the worst season in franchise history, the Spurs were given the third best odds to get the first overall pick in the 1997 draft. Exactly what the organization...
I'm going to be honest here. I don't know how the draft system works at all. Like, the last three out of the draft system, I didn't watch it this time. I wanted to, but I was too busy and I kind of forgot about it. I just don't understand how the system works in general. So, you know, what he's saying right now doesn't even compute. I don't even compute.
They needed to rejuvenate their roster. But according to pre-draft evaluations, the gap between the potential first pick and the third pick was massive. Get the third pick and settle for a small forward out of Utah named Keith Van Horn, or win the lottery and land on the best NBA prospect in over a decade. A four-year starter out of Wake Forest by the name of Tim Duncan.
Yeah.
And on the day of the draft lottery, the future of the Spurs franchise and the future of the NBA would change forever.
The second pick in the 1997 NBA draft goes to the Philadelphia 76ers. And that means that the first pick in the 1997 NBA draft goes to the San Antonio Spurs. Congratulations.
See this guy right here? That's Spurs chairman Peter Holt. And in this moment, he was the happiest man on earth because he just won the first overall pick in the 97 NBA draft. Who he would pick was already a foregone conclusion. But not Peter or anyone else at the time knew that the Spurs just won the rights to one of the greatest players in the history of the game.
I might need to watch a Tim Duncan video.
This moment was the beginning of one of the greatest dynasties in NBA history. And now, 26 years later, luck would have it that the Spurs have found themselves right in the middle of another historic night once again, because they now have the rights to the #1 overall pick in the 2023 NBA draft. And the prospect they plan on picking up is claimed to be bigger and better than anything we have ever seen.
Need to be there.
Closer to draft day, the hype surrounding Victor Wembanyama is growing by the minute. Experts and analysts claiming he's
on his debut day, right? I'm gonna take the following day off from work. Whenever like his debut day is, whenever the new season starts, I'm gonna take the following day off because like the game started like 3 AM for me, right, or like 1 AM for me in the UK. So I'm gonna take the following day off so I can watch his game. Cause like with the hype, I'm not even a basketball. I wasn't even a basketball fan last season. I still last year rather, and I still heard about him all the time. So I'm just like, whatever, if he's going to be a bust or, you know, if he's going to actually live up to it, I need to be there. I'm going to be there. You can
Greatest
bookmark his
prospect in the history of the sport. Some even claiming he's the best prospect of any sport ever. The franchise that gets him believed to have hit the basketball
that's cap.
jackpot that will set them up
That's
for 2
cap.
decades of success and championships. But how good can one prospect
Messi won the Ballon d'Or at
actually
19.
be? Fans already talking about future championships for the Spurs since they've essentially landed Victor. But turning potential greatness into real winning and championships is a task that very few players have ever been capable of doing.
Imagine. Okay.
Today's video is sponsored by DraftKings. The playoffs are in full swing, and even if your team is losing...
Look, what I'll say, I'm gonna let that play. What I'll say though, with like betting, sponsored and whatnot, just just make sure that if you get, if you actually like participate, I'm a terrible example of this. Like make sure that if you're betting, that you do so responsibly, because I've seen enough people that like just completely lose it. And again, I'm a bad example of like saying all this, because you could consider me one of those people. Although I think I've got myself a set budget every week. Some might say that budget is too high though, but like
$150
just
bonus bets.
just say it.
About a lock, my friends. This is as
Don't
automatic as it
like don't get consumed by it.
$150 in bonus bets. Try
Set clear
DraftKings
limits,
same
basically.
game parlays, where you can combine multiple bets from the same game into one big bet at a shot for an even bigger payout. And if mobile sports betting is not yet available in your state, you can still get in on the fun with DraftKings Daily Fantasy, where they offer cash prize contests for nearly every sport. Just download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use promo code JxmyHighroller, bet $5 on any wager, and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Out of the last 25 #1 overall draft picks, how many do y'all think have won a Finals MVP?
Let me actually have a look at those. Okay, how many do I think have won a? I mean, the only ones I know are I know Yao Ming, LeBron, obviously, Dwight Howard, heard of him. Kyrie, of course, that's my goat. AD, always dominating. I mean, always disappointing. Haha. Shout out to Skip Bayless. Haha. Shout out to Shannon Sharp. Haha. Well, they got bounced out of. they got bounced. They got bounced. Andrew Wiggins. Better man. My goodness. My goodness. Ben Simmons. Fall from grace. I do think people are treating him very harshly, to be fair. I get that, like, he doesn't want to shoot, but the way people are going on about it, hey, I'm not gonna say like it's a mental health thing, but I'm just saying, like, I think he needs to get himself a sports psychologist more than anything. And I think there's a very good player in there, though, to be fair. I just don't think that. I think he's someone that you need to touch with gloves. You need to be very cautious and careful around. Ayton, well, another one that just got bounced. My goodness, there's so much embarrassment here. Zion can't stay healthy. AE, respect, my brother, respect. Don't even know who Cade Cunningham is, if I'm being completely honest. Detroit Pistons. I'm not familiar with him in the slightest. And Banchero, he's like good, but I don't think he's like amazing. Cause like, yeah, he's just good, isn't he? Like, he's not amazing. I haven't really heard too much of him.
Maybe 4 or 5.
But yeah, out of all of these, sorry, what was the question? How many have won a Finals MVP?
Picks. How many do y'all think have won a Finals MVP?
Well, obviously LeBron. And I would... Maybe Kyrie? Did Anthony Davis win? I didn't watch basketball during the bubble. As I said, I'd only started watching it last year. So did AD win one during the bubble when the Lakers won championship, or would they have given that to LeBron? I think it's just a popularity contest. Same with the MVP, because otherwise Jokic would have won it. So I'm assuming LeBron would have won the Finals MVP during the bubble as well. So I'm gonna go with just LeBron. I don't think Kyrie has won. Nah, so just LeBron.
Maybe 4 or 5. How about 1? There has been one #1 overall pick in the last 25 seasons who has won a Finals MVP. But Finals MVPs are about the toughest thing to win in all of basketball. So what about regular season MVPs? How many of the last 25 first overall picks have won at least one of those?
Okay, LeBron. I never cared about just the regular season MVPs. So I wouldn't know. So I'm just gonna go LeBron for sure. He must have won one, and I'm gonna go Kyrie, and I think that's about it.
2. LeBron James.
Derrick Rose.
Derrick
Damn it.
Rose. That's it. But how about this? How many of the last 25 #1 overall picks do you think have won a championship? They could be a role player for all I care. As long as they have a ring, it counts.
I'll just go
But
4.
the answer is still just 6. Winning in the NBA is very, very hard to do. But fans and experts are already putting this burden on a kid who hasn't even been drafted yet. But we've done this before. Unrealistic hype and expectations met with inevitable disappointment. It feels like just yesterday, Zion Williamson was being regarded as the greatest
His
basketball
issue isn't
prospect
skill and
of
talent,
the
though.
decade. And yet here we are, 4 years later.
His
and
issue
Zion
is
has
just
played
staying
in
healthy.
just 29 games over the last 2 seasons.
That could be
and
the
has
issue
yet to
with
play
Wembanyama
a
as well,
single
but still.
playoff game. Great player, but as of right now, far from the franchise-altering force he was hyped up to be. Here's another player who was said to be a generational prospect coming into the NBA, nicknamed the Fresh Prince, being that he was the successor to LeBron King James.
Okay.
This is Ben Simmons, a player that was too afraid to take a shot in a playoff game and peaked in his second.
Maybe I need to watch that game, right? 'Cause
A player that was too
I've
afraid
seen this clip, but from the other side, and then people like to blame him for them losing. I'm just like, you can't blame like 2 points, 2 single points, because this would have just given you 2 points. You can't blame this on you not winning a game, a series rather. Like you can't do that. Now, I've not seen the game, so I can't comment on how his like overall play was besides this moment. But like, I'm just like, this is a moment. That's all it is. There are multiple moments in the game, but they just wanted to find a scapegoat. That's what it looked like to me. Like they just wanted to find a scapegoat. And I don't even think that's a bad decision necessarily, because you know he might think that the guy behind him is coming towards him, so he's just like, okay, well then he can make the argument he should go 3-point play and whatnot. But I think this is a fine play because the guy that he's passing to has a free lane. It seems like
in a playoff game and peaked in his second season in the league. And we do this to young players.
Again, I just think he needs a psychiatrist more than anything.
DeAndre Ayton is a solid NBA player. Nowhere near a superstar, but he could be a key piece on a championship-winning team.
He's just got no passion.
Now, would you believe that just 3 months before he was drafted, he was labeled as a, quote, anomaly?
Nah. Look, I'll keep pausing it. Sorry. It's my boy Jimmy, all right? It's my boy Jimmy. And I'm new to basketball, but I do my research when I talk about things, all right? I've done my research about everything, all right? Basically. Because I got into basketball and I immediately was like, okay, I need to read up everything that I can. I need to watch everything that I can, all right? So I've got a little bit of knowledge, even if I only just started watching recently. Luka was a better prospect. And there was this whole debate going on, Luka or Ayton or what was the other one? Was it Trae Young? Luka's the best prospect out of those three, right? Like, I'm not saying that because he's European and, I'm shout out to my European brothers. But, like, he just was. Like, he just was. It's just, NBA is foolish sometimes with the way they treat Europeans, which is why I always root for them. Which is why Jokic needs to win.
In the moment, it always feels like the next guy up is going to be the guy. And then shortly after, we forget about the unwarranted comparisons and move on to the next guy. To really understand how rare it is to draft a player who becomes an all-time great, stays healthy, and stays loyal to the franchise that drafted him, we have to look at the teams and players who actually did it.
Okay.
If we're talking about transcendent players who led the team that drafted them to multiple championships, then that list only includes 7 players who were drafted in the modern NBA.
Really now? Players who led the team that drafted them to multiple championships. I don't care if the Hornets drafted Kawhi's a Laker. No. I didn't even know that, if I'm being honest. But no. He doesn't count. He does not count them. Fair enough, it's multiple. I thought it was just one. Because, he showed up like a picture of Dirk, so I was going to mention Dirk, but no,
Over
okay.
3,000 players
Tim
drafted
Duncan,
since 1980,
2, 4, 5.
and 7 of them went on to be a loyal, franchise-altering talent. These players right here
course,
are
MJ.
icons, legends in their franchise and to the game, and they only come around about once in a decade. Now, if Victor is as good as advertised, he could be added to this list one day, but the path to get there is long and riddled with players who fell short. But in the NBA, even the stars, superstars, and once-in-a-generation talents struggle to win the ultimate prize. Luka Doncic has been a phenom since he entered the NBA, so far exceeding all pre-draft expectations.
Speaking of my GOAT.
And yet 5 seasons into his NBA journey, and he has yet to see the finals, and even missed the playoffs in this last season.
Hey, at least he
Kevin
humiliated
Durant
the
is
Suns.
one of the greatest players to ever touch a basketball. But even
My
he
other
had
GOAT.
to abandon the team that drafted him to join a juggernaut of a team to win a championship.
We do what we gotta do.
Russell Westbrook, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard, Joel Embiid. The list of all-time great players who have yet to win a title or find any real success in the playoffs is massive, which makes the expectations on Wembanyama all the more baffling.
But that's just...
To think that a 19-year-old can come into a struggling franchise and turn everything around may not be realistic. And even worse, it may not even be fair to the young man. Ironically, the best turnaround directly caused by a rookie in modern NBA history was by Tim Duncan.
Of course.
After the Spurs drafted Duncan,
Of
their win
course.
total jumped from 20 wins in 1997 to
Ben Simmons.
56 wins in
Let's go.
1998. A 36-win jump in Timmy's first season with the team and a championship in his second season. This is by far the greatest leap a team has ever seen simply by...
Sorry, I just wanted to look at this graph. Luka at +9, Wilt at +10. Okay. NJ, 11. MJ, Magic, 13. LeBron, 18. I keep seeing Hakeem Hakeem Olajuwon. I'm gonna go with that. I like to, I'm rooting for Ben Simmons. I'll just straight up say it. I'm rooting for him because I feel like there is a player in there. I just feel like he is a player that you need to treat differently than others. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, 29, okay. Larry Bird, 32, okay. David Robinson and Tim Duncan, okay.
By adding a rookie to their roster. Larry Bird was another immediate franchise-altering player for the Celtics, but that was nearly half a century ago. LeBron couldn't do it, KD couldn't do it.
Actually, this is actually a kind of flawed statistic. Wins added isn't a great statistic because, like, you could have, like, picked up a rookie, right? And like, not have a terrible record because of because of certain circumstances, and a +9 or like +13 or 15 or 17 or 18 or whatever might mean completely different things. So you might have only picked up one win, one entire win in a season. So if you now add +17 or +9, you've got 10 wins, sure, but like it's not like you went from like 60 to suddenly 70, you know. So I feel like this might be a bit of a flawed statistic. I think a more like fair statistic and chart would have been like something along the lines of win percentage rather than just wins added. Like win percentage over the previous year.
And yet somehow we don't just want, but we expect this 19-year-old kid to do it.
Hey, I'm rooting
I
for
really
him.
think some fans don't understand the pressure that they are putting on Wembanyama.
He just has such
can
a
be great,
skinny frame.
Amazing, injury-free, generational, and to expect this level of excellence out of him could still be far too much. Over the past 25 seasons, the average MVP finishes the season with a win share total of 15.2.
Okay.
Over that same time span, the average All-Star has a win share total of 10. And among the 450 active players in any given season, the average single-season win share total across the league is just 2. Now, over the last 25 years, among #1 overall picks in their rookie season, the average win share total is 4.2. That number jumps to 5.7 in their second season and then hits 7.9 in their third season.
Okay.
But by season 4, many of these once prodigies start to lose their minutes. They fall out of the rotation, they fail to adapt their game and skill sets to the NBA, and the average win share falls to 6.7. And by season 5, by the time we as fans have made a decision on these players, the average win share total falls to just 5.9. About the same as the average starter in the NBA. This is the career of an average #1 overall pick in the NBA. We see #1 overall players as the guys who went on to have great careers.
This is a
guys
very
like
interesting
Kyrie
video.
and Anthony Davis and LeBron. But we forget that far more often, these #1 overall picks pan out to be players like Markelle Fultz, Andrea Bargnani, and Kwame Brown. But even for the groundbreaking prospects who are league ready the day they put on an NBA jersey, the result is still rarely a championship or real hardware or impact. Over the last 25 years, the players who had the largest impact in their rookie season were Chris Paul, Ben Simmons, and Blake Griffin.
Ben Simmons again.
Next best rookies of the last 25 seasons. You are looking at the greatest rookie seasons of this century, and yet only half of them were even the best player on their team by the end of their first season in the league. But I want y'all to take a guess at how many of these players even made the playoffs in their rookie season.
I have no idea, my brother.
2. Which means out of the 15
Jeez.
best rookies who've entered the league over the last 25 seasons,
Jeez.
not a single one of them led their team to the playoffs. And among these same 15 rookie sensations, by their third season in the league, only 4 of them managed to lead their team to the playoffs as the best player on the team. It is very hard to win in the NBA. But like some sort of gambling addict, us NBA fans like to count the wins while ignoring the losses.
Look, it is what it is, eh? It is what it is.
We've had are outweighed by the 1 or 2 we got right.
Obviously.
Is Victor Wembanyama the most hyped NBA prospect of all time? Well, I'm not sure. Some experts that have been around a lot longer than I have would like to say so. But if my memory serves me right, I can recall a 17-year-old LeBron James drawing so much attention that he managed to have an Ohio high school basketball game featured on national television long before social media. The likes of LeBron James, Patrick Ewing, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar were all household names before they even put on an NBA jersey. I don't know if Wembanyama is at that level of hype at the moment.
He's got such...
He's getting there. And with that amount of hype comes overwhelming pressure to perform. It's easy to sit back and watch this kid play, see his incredible tools in action. 7 feet 5 inches tall, 8-foot wingspan with a silky smooth jump shot.
I don't keep saying it, but
instincts.
it really
One
is.
can only assume he will find immediate or even eventual success in the form of championships and cultural impact in the NBA. Coaches and scouts who have been around the game for decades and have seen every prospect rise through the ranks over the years are saying Victor Wembanyama is better than all of them.
Woo!
It would take an
Woo!
era-defining talent
Woo!
to come into the NBA and transform a franchise into a dynasty. But if Victor is everything we think he is, he may just be the next player to do it.
All right, Mr. Jimmy. Mr. JxmyHighroller. All right. That was the harsh truth about Victor Wembanyama. Look. I'm not an expert on basketball. I keep saying that. I keep stressing that, in fact, so that people don't come at me. So that people don't come at me, all right? But, like, well, I want to say he's got, like, again, I keep saying that he's got such a skinny frame. Because, like, I look at it, and I'm just like, it almost looks unnatural. Like, he looks so tall. He looks even skinnier. I don't know if that's the case, but he looks even skinnier than, like, someone like Kevin Durant. It almost, to me, that's the way it looks like. It looks like you push him, and like despite his height, he would just collapse essentially. That's how he looks like just like a bunch of a bunch of like sticks holding up like a pot or something, and you just nudge it, and then the trees just collapse under the weight of the pot. That's what it looks like to me, and that applies like to his arm as well. He's got some really long fingers, though. Like you see how long his fingers are. They're like they're that much longer. It's like crazy. As I said, I'm here for the hype. For me, talent is one thing. Obviously, that's one thing that the video really point out, that like #1 pick doesn't mean anything. But talent is one thing. What I like is generally, like personally, I always go for a bit like, you don't need to have the most talent, but you need to have the best attitude. And I think with the right attitude, like, you can do it. And I think that's really what it boils down to. Now, I know the French. I know a lot of French people, and I know the French mindset just in general. These guys are pricks. In a good way. If you're watching. In a good way, alright? These guys are pricks. They have a very much like a herd mentality, but they also have very much, and that's the thing that I always respect about the French. I like the French, I'll be honest, I like the French. They're pricks, but I'm a prick too. But like the thing that they have just in general, I know I'm just generalizing here, stereotyping here, even if you want to go that far, but they have a very much like a, okay, it's us against the world. and very much a, okay, we're gonna be ourselves and we're gonna push ourselves to the furthest to be the best that we can be, and we're gonna try and find solutions when there are problems in our way. So that's very much what I like about them. They're very much lived by the spirit of like revolution, like very much like the unity, I guess you can call it that. So I'm very sure that like if he has deficiencies in his game, his like friend circle and his family circle will help him out in that aspect. And I think, look, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and I'm gonna say something crazy. But I like saying crazy things. I think he's gonna be the best player. He's gonna win an MVP in the second season. Not his first, but in his second. That's what I think. I honestly do think so. I think he's gonna win an MVP in his second season, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you think. Am I overreacting? I've seen a little bit of him, but not enough to really like make any sort of fair judgment. But like the guy, his handle is good, his shot is good, and apparently like fairly strong as well, which I don't think, you know, he doesn't look like that to me. I think his first season is gonna have a significant impact, very similar to like Luka Doncic, and then like in his second season is gonna have like an actual like, you know, MVP caliber season and actually like maybe like win it. Just saying. But yeah, that's my thought, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know what you all think. I will see all of you in the next one, everyone. That was a hot stream about Victor Wembanyama. Until next time.